Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Comment Dense Podcast. We are live, we are armed, and we are dangerous. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Comment Dense Podcast. My name, of course, is Ebek, and of course, I'm joined here by Burr, Lemming, and Shadow. Hello, everyone. No problem at all. So, hello, everyone. Anyone who's tuning in for the first time, which you're tuning into episode 31 of the Comment Dense Podcast, which, wow, we got 31 episodes. Amazing. Can't believe we got it so far. But anyone who wants to know what this is, I gather my friends and we comment densely upon the multitude of news topics that have happened over the last kind of month or two, as well as just generally just shoot the shit as on the show. Which, yes, this is your warning that this show is indeed not suitable for young ears. Let's put it that way.
On the head.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saying that the currently of the others, you should now be able to do that. But yeah,
Okay.
there we go.
Hello.
Hello, everyone. Hello for thanks to subscribe there, Mist. I appreciate it. But yeah, we comment densely upon the many news topics that go on in the world. Hello. How are you doing today, my friends?
I'm getting through. We're getting through it.
Yeah.
Tired as all hell before we
Tired.
get there.
Of your job or
Both.
Yes.
yeah.
It's been a very long day today.
Yes, I can definitely relate to that. Right then, so let's just hop into it. No, the correct answer is yes. Yeah, I agreed, Mist. So let's hop up into it. Shadow, what have you been playing?
Me, I recently got back into City Skylines 1 actually because there was a lot of videos about like a lot of people came out of recent was saying City Skylines 2 is kind of bad actually.
Oof. That's what we
Yeah.
call an oof.
You don't say.
I won't go into it because we'll be here all
I
day.
haven't given you
But
back my drink, so.
but there's considerable amounts of drama going on around City Skylines 2 and how Colossal Order and Paradox have handled it. The CEO of Colossal Order made a less than advisable statement to the fact of if you don't like the simulation, this game is probably not for you. And it's like, oh, that's not something to say when your game is
Don't say the quiet part out loud.
yeah, underbaked and full of bugs. That's not the right thing to say. And there's been numerous other things like I can't remember who it was. I think it was the CEO again who made assertions to the fact that the community was being toxic. And the
To who
community
exactly?
says, no, we're not being toxic. And certain high profile members of the community said, no, the community isn't toxic. They're rightfully upset you gave them a less than great product, you know?
Yeah.
Saying your game is shit is not toxic if your game is shit.
Yeah. Anyway, I've been playing the original City Skyline and it's been a fun time. I've been trying to avoid
Yeah.
making Milton Keynes.
And
And
on,
also,
on the new PC, it's a completely new game.
yes. And also I've been playing Nightingale, the early access game from Inflection Games, who are offshoots of BioWare, if I remember correctly.
Don't.
I think Umbrella as well.
Not sure. I've yet to boot up Nightingale, although I imagine I'll be in the character creator making someone fabulous at some point.
We'll be in there for 3 years. Don't
Yes.
worry about it. Yeah. Inflection Game. I will actually say though before we move on to somebody else. Inflection Games, on the other hand, now we've mentioned Colossal Orders. Faux pas. Now, Inflection Game, like Nightingale, is an always online game because it communicates with the servers and stuff like that. Now, of course, because it's an early access game and a lot of people were looking forward to it, the servers kind of went down and there were a lot of problems and all that kind of shit happened. And Inflection Games, instead of doing a Colossal Order or a SimCity 2013, went our bad guys, we thought the way we had to do this game was always online, but it seems like you guys really want an offline mode. We'll see how we can. We'll see what we can do to make that happen, and we'll get it out as soon as we can.
Which
And
that's,
like,
I mean, to be fair, power to them for like seeing what people want and responding to that. Even if they are not possible to make it work in the end, at least they're listening and be like, yeah, we'll give it a shot, see what we can
Yeah.
do.
yeah,
I mean,
because like,
also, yeah.
no,
No, go ahead.
you go, Bear.
Just wanted to say also, this is exactly what early access is for. You listen to what the users say and you test if they're right, and you end up with a better game for everyone, for devs and for gamers.
In
Yeah,
theory.
I know some people will argue are like, well, how could you not think that people needed an offline mode? It's like maybe they didn't think that, but they actually said in a press in I say it's a press release, it's not a press release, but they did say we didn't think the vision we had for this game, we didn't think it could be we thought it needed to be online kind of thing. But so we're not quite sure how it would work offline, but we will give it a go since so many people want it. And I really respect that, to be humble enough to go, hey, we like here's this vision that we have, but if we can do it this way, which people want, then we'll try it. I really respect that, and it's a lot better than what Maxis did in 2013 and go, well, we can't have an offline we can't
Yeah.
have an offline sim city, and then a modder's like, yes you can, you cowards.
And Mother's just like, we just did it.
Yeah, and they're not saying that
It just won't work. It's just not done.
they're not saying it's not possible. They're not saying they won't do it. They're not saying it does not fit our vision. They're saying we'll give it a shot. Which is, to be fair, that's like if you give it a fair crack at the whip, then you even if you fail, you earn that respect, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
I
Also,
think from
sorry.
what they've
No, go.
said, I think they can do it because they said we're going to be working on it as like the highest priority thing alongside bug fixes. So
Also,
Good.
devs can be sometimes so close to a project they don't realize some obvious things. Like, I remember devs of a small indie game that did not think people want a save game. They just people will come into the game for a like 4 hour run and beat the game, and people are like, no, we want to play it for 20 minutes and then save the game. What the hell? And they were like, shit, that's right, yeah.
Sometimes
So,
it's people say
if you don't, yeah,
people say it's ridiculous, but like sometimes as a designer, you literally don't think of the simple things. And
yeah.
it takes sometimes an outside influence to kind of be like, hey, have you thought about doing this? And be like, well, actually, no, we've not thought about that. But yeah.
I it also it gives me deep respect for them being holding their hands up and saying, hey, we didn't expect that you wanted this. Let's give it we'll give it a go for you, kind of thing. Like that shows quite a bit of confidence in themselves in a way,
Yeah.
that that they're like, yeah, the game, we can change our game, sort of thing. We're not so beholden to it being
And
one thing.
and it's already pretty fleshed out game for an early access, so it can
It
only
is,
go
it's
up.
very pretty. I like, for me with I don't really like to play early access games. If I get hold of them, I hold them until they come out of early access. But from what I've played of it right now, it's got a good start, very good start.
Yeah.
I look forward to where they go next.
Many games went out of official release much worse than this one.
That I've heard. All right, is there anything else? Or is that it for your shelf
That's
shadow?
it for me.
Let's go on conventional. Burr.
Okay, so I've played 2 games
Mhm.
that I want to talk about. One is Hades. I decided to return to Hades because I found out that since its conception, it had a god mode. I have never turned it on, and I thought, hold on,
It's useful.
it's yes, exactly, it's useful.
I love
I
the way
should
you told me how it implements. Do talk about it. Yeah.
yeah, I should give it a try. It's really cool because it's not like literal god mode. It's just each time you die, each time you end a run with death, you your percentage of reducing damage grows from up by 2%. You start from 20, I think, and it goes up to 80. So each time you fail, the game makes you go a little better, makes you a little stronger, and it really let me start feeling like when Lewis or Laura is playing the game and is beating it and is having fun with it. I suddenly started getting really cool boons. I suddenly started having fun. I suddenly started unlocking things.
Good.
I finally beat Hades a couple of times.
Hey.
Hey.
5 times already.
Nicely
So I'm
done.
halfway there.
Yeah.
I'll be doing my lunch break today, actually.
Yeah.
Also, the way of doing that, because when you think God mode, you're always thinking, oh, you're invincible, you can't be damaged. What I like about that is that it doesn't take death out of the equation. It just,
No.
each time, it just makes it just a little bit easier,
Yeah.
just a little bit easier, a little bit easier for
Yeah.
yourself. And it's a nice kind of, nice little positive feedback loop, which games should
Yeah,
have more.
I needed to like get to the 70% uh
Threshold?
of defend being impervious to attacks to finally get the game to be really nice and really comfortable for me. So right now I'm really enjoying. And before it was like, oh no, it's all the bad things in roguelikes that I hate, and they don't let me enjoy the game. And now I'm having a lot of fun. I can't put the controller down.
Yeah, I love mechanics like that.
Yeah.
I've only experienced I can't think of any others I've experienced. I will
Mm.
just point that out. My memory is not great. But the one I remember most is in MMOs, actually. There is a bad luck protection on some items where if you fail a roll and you don't get it, then the numbers weight more in your favor in the background, and it will do it again and again until eventually you hit threshold, get the item you want, and then it will reset back to zero again. And I like that because even if you don't get what you want, you think, well, next time, maybe next time, maybe next time. And it feels like the game like isn't going to be unfair to you. It's like, okay,
But it will
you
cut
can
you a
have a
break.
run of yeah, you can have a run of bad luck, but eventually you will get there, kind of thing. I hate it when it's just RNG flat and it's just like I won't that's also the thing with karmic dice in Baldur's Gate 3. Like, sure, yeah, it makes the fights technically harder because then the enemies can't have like a rush of critical misses, but it does not feel great. Trust me, it doesn't feel great because I played Baldur's Gate 3 with the karmic dice turned off to begin with. It does
When
not
you're the
feel
one who's
great.
missing, it's not great.
Yeah, when you get like nat one, nat one, nat one, fail check, fail check, fail check, and it's just like this is just it just makes you feel useless and like shit. And I know RPGs are like that sometimes. Sometimes the dice just don't go in your favor.
Sometimes,
But
I mean, you've had plenty of Star Wars RPG sessions where the dice have not liked you, Shadow.
yeah,
I
but
mean, the dice
I
not liking me is why I gave up on Blood Bowl.
yeah, but I think brief tangent aside, brief tangent. Sorry, guys. But there's something different between like I can understand rolls of bad like for some reason if there's rolls of bad luck in a TTRPG like a proper I say in person one but like with human people it still sucks but I feel better about that than when a computer does it to me.
Yeah, because in this, you have the social aspect of it. It's not just you for an aspect, and also the idea that you know that the game master isn't screwing you. It is literally just the dice. Whereas with a computer, you're not sure whether it's the dice screwing you or the computer that's throwing the dice that's screwing you.
Yeah, and I think also with a TTRPG, like I'm not saying that you bail us out when things go horribly wrong, but there is that fallback mechanism of if a GM sees like things are going very badly wrong to for party, they can move the sliders in the background to say, okay, let's not compound this kind of thing.
Or scream
Whilst
at them, maybe you should retreat.
yeah, well, a computer just does not give a shit.
Yeah.
It will just do what it wants. It's just like, ah, yes, I will keep rolling die. Like it's truly random, okay, but The computer don't fucking give a shit. That's why you don't want an AI GM. The AI GM does not give a shit, and also you can't banter with it.
Um, actually,
Never
well,
considered that. Thank you.
I'm actually that's the thing where
Right.
AI GM would be more akin to a human GM, where AI GM would try to mitigate the situation, whereas the pure CPU GM, like we have in video games, is doing what it's doing.
I don't know, because how does an AI know when to start karmic dice? You know, because that needs to be programmed in. How does it know that this
I
run
mean,
of luck is going to
that's
change at some point? Like,
that's the thing about AI. It doesn't have to be programmed in. It just has to be taught that when they are starting to do bad, when the players are starting to do bad, not of their own fault, you start giving them help.
But then
but
you
where do
make
they
them
draw the
immune.
line?
Yeah, then you make them immune to failure. It's this difficult line.
Yes.
As a GM, you're always having to make that call. Like, yes, there are times I will
It's
bail my party out, but I'm
it
not
is
going to do that every
difficult.
time.
Yeah, it is a very difficult line to thread. This is why
Yeah.
it is even difficult for very experienced DMs. But this is the thing with AI. You have no idea how it works, but you train it so many times on so much data that it finally does work. That's the whole thing. You don't know how it works. You just know that when you train it, it works.
You do have to be careful though, because um data training and user bias in the data training is also very important,
Yes,
because
that's
if you train the AI on a data set of DMs who, do not give a shit, will kill you at the slightest opportunity, will make you roll to open a door, then you've got an extremely aggro AI. On
That-
the other hand, you can train them on like really gentle, really forgiving DMs and have a really gentle, forgiving AI. You have to be so careful about user bias
no, that's
bias
that
when
that
Mm,
is
training.
absolutely true. What I agree.
So
No,
complicated.
yeah,
yeah, I'm just saying it is complicated. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Sorry,
it is
yeah.
yeah,
Getting back to the
it is
topic.
complicated.
Getting back to the topic. So yeah,
Sorry.
well, is it just Hades? Anything else been playing? But
No, there's another game that I was playing, which is Tomb Raider Remastered Collection.
oh
Oh.
yes, I've been playing some of that
I
myself. In fact,
have
our friend
beaten.
Scar's been playing it.
Yeah, I've never played the original trilogy because I
Ooh,
I had no access to it back in the day, back in the mid 90s. I had only
behind
access
the
to
Iron
shareware
Curtain.
that was
Soviet Russia.
it wasn't anymore behind Iron Curtain, but it was not part of the West and open market and everything yet. Because it was like 5 years after the Iron Curtain fell.
That's true.
So
Yeah,
Oh yeah, when
there
everybody
was
was poor.
everyone was poor. Two, things were scarce. Three, scarce. Sorry.
Scarce
I
is
prefer the way you say it actually.
I
Scarce, I
think
like
it
that.
I I think it's scarce, but I think scarce
Yeah.
is right.
No,
So,
it is scarce.
Yeah.
Now remember Jesse laughing,
Martin
rolling on
back.
the floor laughing when the Credo said scarce instead of scarce.
I must find that video.
So yeah, um, the it was really hard to get games, and they would cost you an arm and a leg. They would cost like um, around £20 in times where your monthly salary would be £80 to £100. So you can either pay your bills
Or you could put
or buy a game.
Yeah, quarter of your
Yeah,
monthly salary on a game.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
why do I hear sea shanties all of a sudden?
That's yes,
Well,
exactly.
we'll
So
get to that topic.
I mean, that's one thing, but I didn't come across a pirated version of Tomb Raider either. The only thing I had was a shareware that was distributed with one of the game magazines. So I was able to play half of the dinosaur level from Tomb Raider 1.
Good
That was
choice.
all.
How you,
But
as someone
I was
who's not
surprised.
played the original, yet dived headlong into the games, which they are old school
Yeah.
design difficulty wise. How you
Mhm.
define that?
So I mean, first of all, I really love the fact that I can use, because I'm absolutely already used to buy tons of games. I'm used to the modern controls. I'm used to the looking around with a right thumbstick. I'm used to moving not with like not turning like a tank, but moving in the direction that I push the left thumbstick.
Mm.
So it's really hard to suddenly switch to the tank controls, and that would take all the pleasure out of the game. So that's one thing. Another thing, I absolutely love how the game looks now, because you can switch from one view to the other, and you can see how
That is a
much
nice trick.
yeah,
I always like when they do
in the
that.
in the remastered version, you can still see that this is upgrading a very old game. So it's still not up to
Yeah, it's
modern standards, but still looks beautiful.
it's kind of more like a. The best way to explain it is it's not like a remaster would be taking like an old car and like putting a brand new shell on it that's like modern and like sleek and things.
Mm.
This is more restoring an old vehicle so that it
Yeah,
looks pretty much the same. It just has a new paint job,
yeah,
looks shinier, new tech underneath the hood
yeah.
to make it run perfectly fine. Basically, yeah, it looks it looks crisp, it looks high definition, but it's still blocky because
Yeah,
it was a grid based game in terms of how it was constructed.
yeah.
But it still looks
It's like
gorgeous.
yeah, it's still the original models, but they are pimped out with modern textures, with more polygons, all kinds of things like that. But you can tell this is still the old models, old animations, especially Tomb Raider 2. You can see that when the characters are really bobbing their heads when they
Yeah, with the
talk.
talking, yeah. Except Lara, she does lip movement, but not bobbing her head, which they might be fixing that later. There's actually a patch coming out soon, and apparently there's a big. In fact, there's something about the Epic Store game version actually having more features because it had like it had like an accidental patch release or like a something happened to that. Very interesting little story there about that. But
That would
yeah,
that will take a bit of Mimi charm away
yeah.
from that game.
I mean,
Would be better
yeah.
if there was a mod to install, like make the characters not bob their heads anymore.
Oh, you could probably get that. But no, I think they did a great job with the Tomb Raider
Yeah,
remaster,
yeah,
and
but
everyone seems to like it.
in regards to designing the game, it's there's a lot of horrible things that's in the original game, and there's a lot of things that were fairly okay in the original game, but they are made horrible in the remastered version. Because there is a lot of problems with showing you where to go.
It's dark
You,
as
you
shit, man.
yeah. One is dark as shit. Two, a lot of edges and textures and things. They are very similar to one another, and you really can't tell where to go unless you do like lick every wall and every suspicious looking nook and
Ye-
cranny, and then
ye-
finally discover, oh, there's an opening here.
yes,
I did not see that.
yes, Shadow.
It's almost like you could put some bright paint where people need to go. Maybe some yellow's a good bright color.
You're inviting
Yeah,
the
I
ire.
mean,
You're inviting the ire of the internet. I do agree with you that the game does lack conveyance in a lot of aspects,
yeah.
and that would solve the problem. But yeah, mhm.
I mean that
Well,
would
you
that would
know, there's only one
that,
rule: don't provoke the Twitter.
I don't care.
yeah, I don't care. Come at me,
Eh,
Twitter.
okay, let's try. Can come. Twitter
Also,
can come at us. I go at Twitter all the
yeah,
time. So
any tool to make it easier to figure out, like give it a bit more lightning, like make it a more visible open space where to go. It would really benefit. And the other problem, the other thing that grinds my gears is in the remastered version, because they wanted to change the lighting, and they did, because now it's done on the modern lighting where it's the actual points of light that shine, not like every wall glows in some way. They had to add, in many places they had to add open open roofs, windows, holes in the ceiling, so
hmm.
that there's some light in there, because otherwise there would be none, because it wouldn't make sense. In the original, it wouldn't make sense you go through a corridor for 5 minutes in a cave and it's bright like in a day. Doesn't work like that. This is why there are now holes in the walls and there are
Yeah.
open ceilings.
The first Tomb Raider had baked-in lighting because the lighting engines weren't a
Yeah,
thing at that
yeah,
point.
but that causes other problems. Like one of them is you absolutely can't find most of the items, even with the fact that you now can have those exclamation marks above the items when you step above them. It still is not enough, especially because the camera, when you start using your right thumbstick or your mouse to look around, the camera is the worst enemy. There are places where the original camera that is fixed point is struggling in a fighting in a tug of war with your controlled camera, and it's causing so many problems. I absolutely hate it. There are
Yeah.
places where it's terrible, and you sometimes have to stop and like stop looking around, just move, because otherwise you would have a very bad time.
Mm.
So picking up objects is really hard, and they are really not very visible because now they are natural natural size. They're not gigantic
Well,
keys anymore.
some of
They're
them,
key-size keys.
there is an inconsistency in the game. The fact that I think in Tomb Raider 2 or 3, some of the keys are massive. Where it's like it's like you're being given the key to the
Yeah.
city. You know, it's like
Yeah.
so
There's
the different
some of them like rusty key or like copper key or like tin key. They're suddenly tin colored, copper colored. They are very hard to notice in dim light, and
yeah.
it's really hard to see. Sometimes you have to switch to the original view and see. Oh, okay, it's over there because it's glowing like crazy in the original visuals.
I I do want to talk about this very quickly, which is, and we'll probably bring it as a topic at a later time, about how a lot of people are saying, "Oh, look, this proves that we gamers don't want remakes or things. We want remasters and re-releases of old games." And I'm like, yes, but there is an asterisk because I will point out this is Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3. Now, if they release them all separately, there'll be a lot of people angry at Tomb Raider 2 and 3 because the Tomb Raider 2 and 3 continue the difficulty curve. They
Yeah.
assume you've played 1 and 2, and so keep that going up. So if you started at 2, I'm sorry, but you are not having a good time at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Yes.
adding to those problems, another thing that I really dislike
Hmm.
in the remastered version is that because a lot of things are unified in terms of how it looks, and all the textures look really nice now, it's really hard to tell which items are interactable, which items are to be like to be interacting with, to climb on or to push. So
More objective
in
conveyance.
it's yes, it's kind of like with the old cartoons where you would have a background painted on the paper and you would have moving objects painted on the foil. So it will have different colors and you can see what is going to be moved. So the same thing was with the original Tomb Raider, and it is not in the new Tomb Raider because all the textures, all the elements look really nice, but they all look really similar to one another, and you can't distinguish. Like this one looks much nicer; it must be interactable.
Yeah, there's definitely an argument to be made about why we have things like the yellow paint argument and such. You were gonna say something, Shadow?
No, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Anything else, Burr? Is that it for you?
Oh. No, that's it. I'm slowly starting to play Nightingale now, but yeah, mostly
Alright.
those two games have been taking most of my time the last month.
So, personal elimination, we get down to Lemming. What have you been playing? I know that you're playing some. You've been
Quite
cleaning.
a lot. I've been playing quite a lot these last month. Starting obviously with cleaning things. Power
Yeah.
Wash Simulator finally releases Warhammer 40k DLC,
Yeah.
and it's
Ah.
huge.
And we never heard from Lemming again.
And you've been gloriously
still haven't
cleaning in the name of the Emperor.
Yes.
I haven't finished it. The last thing to finish is the Thunderhawk gunship, and it is huge. I'm about 2/3 of the way through it. I've spent 6 hours on this one thing so
Bloody
far.
hell.
It's huge.
For the glory of the
vast.
Emperor, though.
for the glory of the Emperor and the Imperium and the Adeptus Mechanicus. But yeah, that's a lot of fun. If you already have Power Wash Simulator and a free £6, get it. It's really good. It even has little there's an ongoing story as you progress through the cleaning of them preparing for a big mission, and then the final cleanup is them saying the mission's gone to shit. Help!
£6 and 6 hours of content that he's played already so far. That's £1 per hour, everyone. So good value in
That's
there.
6 hours of content on one of them.
On one of them. So it's...
I had 4 before that. But yeah, it's really, really fun. But that one aside, I've also been 4, but I'm only going to do 3 here. This one's a little special. I've been playing, obviously, Hades on my lunch breaks at work.
Nice.
Yay! Getting my preparations in for starting a new save and doing a bit of a rush. So everybody who has Hades in our little group, be warned, I will be setting you a challenge once I finish my 4 hours.
I don't play Hades, so...
Neither do I.
Oh,
You're
that
lying
leaves
to
me. But
Yeah, don't worry about it. And
there's
but
what I think this is the only game on Switch that I know that has cross saves with something else.
didn't know that. But one of the games that I've been playing, there's 3. Obviously, I've mentioned one. Helldivers 2.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I've been playing the hell out of that. So has David and a number of other people.
So there's a lot of people on the internet, from what I can tell.
Yeah.
I
To the
don't
point
expect
where the developers have been suffering from their success.
They're like,
Just
please, we haven't got enough servers for you all.
Yeah, Arrowhead Game Studios were not aware of how popular that this game was going to be. So they released the game, and all of a sudden, all of the servers were not good enough.
Damn.
They had lots of complaints early on because people were unable to get into the game. And people were just leaving themselves logged in for hours at a time while they went and did something else so that they didn't lose their spot, which wasn't fair. But
Yeah.
in the
They had
week
to
it's
get
been
it.
out, they've already put new servers in, the queues are gone, and they're already adding new stuff to the game. They're adding mechs, which is going to be fun when I get my hands on one. All the Titanfall players are having flashbacks as we speak. But yeah, it's a third person. The original was top down. This is third person shooting, and at the moment the 2 bad guys are mechs, evil robots coming from one side of the galaxy, and the big bug monsters, which are basically, if you've ever watched Starship Troopers, it's that.
Pretty much, yeah.
Just evil, gribbly bug monsters.
Yeah, one thing I have heard about Helldivers 2, which I really like, is that they have a human DM
Yeah,
for the whole thing, who chooses
I was about to get into that.
which
Yeah,
planets that they invade. It's really cool. I really like that as a concept.
yeah. The half of the community is all great, and the other half of the community is saying "fuck Jeff." I'm okay with this because it's an actual ongoing plot, and there is a single overall controller who's going, okay, the players are doing too well over there. Let's alter that a bit.
I really like that.
They will just on a whim, they will add modifiers to sections because it's an ongoing galactic map. For everybody. It's a global map with every player taking part. And you can go to that planet.
No, Lemming!
No.
We've lost Lemming.
The
I
GM
thought-
got him.
Yeah, but that's it. He's old. He's gone. All right, well,
Rocks full,
Jeff-
Lemming.
Rocks full,
Jeff
Lemming
got him.
dies. We'll try and get Lemming back. I actually thought it was just mindset in general, but then you 2 responded, so it's like, well, must be Lemming then.
No.
Hey, come on, come back to us. Come back to us.
Lemming.
Well,
He hasn't had a chance to speak very much. Please give him.
Yeah. Also, while I'm
Please.
away, I really love this idea of this being a gigantic map for everyone,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's a human DM
Mm.
that decides like we're gonna fuck with those guys here.
That is
Uh,
a very natural way of telling a story, of
Yeah.
telling like an in-engine story
Mm.
as well, because the
Yeah.
DM's like, oh, you're getting
Yeah.
too
Too big for your
nice and
britches.
cozy over here. What if I
Yeah.
just tyrannid, you know?
Yeah.
And
Also, I wanted to insert just a little thing with Arrowhead Studios dealing with server problems. Are have done it so much faster than say Blizzard.
Well, I think in fairness to other games that
Mm.
have server problems as well,
Mm.
sorting out server problems is never as easy as get more servers, because I remember one dev actually explaining it when this was quite in height. It's not just get more servers, and it's the capacity of the servers.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you make it, because it's not just logging attempts it needs to carry, it's other requests to the server. It's also got to say, like, if somebody is spamming login, that's several requests the server's going to have to handle from one person.
save it.
That means bad.
It's complicated.
As Miss says, save yourself from heresy. Praise to the Emperor for his return.
Yes.
Bless the
Thank you.
Emperor, he
Thank
has
you.
returned.
Random PC restart. It's been doing this since I bought it. It's just a occasional issue, but it makes me think maybe I should get another one when I get some money. But sorry about that.
That sounds appropriate.
Okay, you were in the middle of telling us about the Helldivers GM.
Yes, the fact that you can go, okay, those people over there have been doing things a bit weirdly. So in order to shake things up, we're going to give everybody the landmines, so that every player has a free use on their, of their equipment that they're allowed to bring in, of dropping landmines everywhere.
Oh God.
So everyone was just like landmines, 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 and they were just blowing up
Nuclear
everything,
landmines.
including themselves.
Nuclear landmines.
I love that.
Yeah.
Nuclear
The GM's like, do you know what would be really funny?
Yes.
Landmines.
Go on landmines.
But it's the fact that when you're playing the game, you're on your super destroyer. That you get the name, by the way. You get to pick
Boaty
the
McButtface.
something of something, and so you can be the mother, the judge of judgment, for
Of course.
example. So it's crazy. I love it. But while you're on your ship, there's a viewing deck that you can go up and look and see the planet that you're currently hovering over. You can see all the markers of other players calling in strikes.
Oh wow.
Nice.
There's a big line that points at the sky when you throw your little strike marker. You get infinite uses of these. It just needs to reload. It's on a countdown timer. Explosions are basically your main weapon at this point. It's great. But when you're looking down, you can see all the other players. You can't see them, but you can see their markers. So you can see active fights that are happening.
I also like the fact that it seems to be one of those few games where friendly fire actually enhances the experience.
Oh yeah. I've had players like landing that they've died, we've respawned them, and they have accidentally landed on me. Pancake. Oh, guess I'm gonna have to call him back. The only problem with the game, in my opinion, is that it requires like the actual I can't remember what they're called, but the orbital drops that you can call in. You can call in weapons, you can call in gear, you can call in attacks. They all require you to hold control and then do a button combination depending on which one you want. Which is awkward if you're in the middle of a fight and need to call in a friend.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which is why Stream Deck, everybody.
Ah, yes, of course.
Yes.
I have macros set to my Stream Deck with a 0.25 millisecond delay between each key press. I just hold control and press what I want.
Also, dialer, just like I would like to phone a friend.
Fucking with this shit. I'm not fucking around when I want to call in a reinforcement, and I've got something horrible nibbling at my knee balls.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the only problem is that string. But if you have a Stream Deck or a mouse that allows macros, they're not stopping you. Do it. But the third game, I finally started Baldur's Gate 3.
Hey,
Hey!
I'm about a year
that's
behind
good.
on this, but I finally started it. I made
that's fine.
Don't worry, Lemming. I am still in Act 1.
I'm not even
Yeah.
not even booted up yet. It's
Yeah, I spent an well, I started installing it at about 9 o'clock one evening and let it go overnight. It finished 5 minutes before I left for work.
so dumb.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot
I
there.
have slow internet. It's not great. But the game itself, oh my god, there's so much you can do.
Yeah, there is so much.
Yeah. Oh, you have no idea.
Oh, I've been watching videos and seeing things, and I am very much looking forward to myself and Drifting Light plug.
Yes.
Drifting Light and myself will be playing a co-op playthrough sometime in the near future once she finishes her evil run,
Fantastic.
because that's a thing. But yeah, I'm playing a me human fighter,
Mm.
and with a penchant for ranged combat and intimidation.
Oh,
I've been getting myself through loads of little potential fights with goblins just by going, "You want some? Thought so. Piss
didn't
off."
think so.
It's great.
So, what about
And
me?
yourself?
Yes. So, naturally, with it being Game Blast, there's a lot I've been playing. Played Fall Guys, Monster Camp. Lovely playing Abzu. Thank you for getting me to play that, Shadow. It's been a long time coming, and I really enjoyed that little kind of relaxing little journey through there. Um, it definitely made me feel things, especially I'm not going to spoil anything because it's quite a few years old, but it's a very poignant story. Um,
It's one of those games where you need to experience it for yourself.
You could get it done in 2 hours. That's what I did. Well, 3 hours. That's what I did. So literally go sit down and play it. As for like other games which I've been playing like religiously, I played Card Sharks. Really enjoyed that. Like I and also it's one of those weird things where this game wouldn't have been made 20 years ago because it's such a like lateral thinking. Like when someone thinks I'm going to make a card game, you think I'm going to make a card game. Whereas Card Shark is a card game about where you don't play cards. It's about how you cheat at cards, and it's such a nice. I don't know if it's such a great art style as well. Great story, a very fantastic story, and just the way that it builds you like to be like, okay, here's how you can shuffle decks. Here's little tricks you can do while shuffling decks. And here's how you can manipulate people and manipulate the deck in various ways. Very interesting. I love that game. Highly recommend from me. Card Shark.
yeah.
Great game.
But,
Set during
yeah,
the French Revolution. Yes, Bear.
you're right. We needed an environment where people are happy and excited for little quirky indie games like that.
Well, not just
Like
quirk.
Card Sharks, like Astrologaster, like Pentiment.
Well, not just like the fact that there's the indie scene is thriving, but the fact that it requires out of the box thinking to think of a card game where you don't actually play cards, and the point is about cheating at cards, and it's a whole bunch of mini games about how you can manipulate the deck and make a game out of that because it's a very lateral kind of thinking in terms of concept. Because your immediate thought is, oh yeah, we'll play a game where you play cards. It's simple,
Yeah.
but that's a very lateral kind of thinking like, okay, here's a bit of outside the box kind of game design. Quite enjoy that.
That's absolutely true. But like it kind of reminds me of like when Shadow was playing. I think no, it was weird. It was playing Potion Craft, or were you playing Potion Craft too?
I think you both were playing it at some point.
Can't remember. But
No, it
that's
was Lewis.
What was Lewis?
Weird.
yeah. That's also like it requires you one to do quite a bit of lateral thinking, and two, it it makes a lot of very weird things that 20 years ago no one would think they are something that you could make a game of to be elements of the game. Like elements of the game are like crushing things in a
Mm.
mortar and pestle. I almost said portal and pestle. No, mortar and pestle. And the potion actually is the quality of your potion is actually translated into the road that you have to travel from place to place. So this is all really brilliant ideas, but no one back then, no one thought that those could be elements of a video game.
Mm.
So it just needed for people to come up with new ideas how to make games and what to make the games about.
Yeah, I fully get that. I mean, I've also been playing the Ace Attorney trilogy, which is a apologistic because we do have to see the voices. The main game, and of course, I've got WWE 2K24 ready to go. So as I finish the podcast, I'll be booting that for the first time. The one game which I've been playing, I've only played 2 sessions of it, but it's been 2 rather long sessions, or actually 3 sessions, rather long sessions, is Pacific Drive. Which is it's a rogue-like kind of style car-based game, which,
It's a roguelike, road-like.
roguelite, yes, which
It's a roguelike
I'm not
game.
one for roguelite, so it's kind of weird to kind of see me playing this. I love the style. It's kind of set in this kind of part of the United States where there's been this kind of calamity, and you're inside this exclusion zone, where called the Olympic Exclusion Zone, and the idea that there's some weird shit going down in there, and like these weird like anomalies and things caused by science, and you're tied to this car which is called a remnant. And the idea of the game is that have to take your car through these zones. So there you are, like outfitting the car with like better panels. And sure, you may think, oh yeah, you can like armor the car up. Sure, you can armor the car up, but then you can get like weird shit to put on the car, like shield generators or lightning rods to basically go into the battery so that you can then keep your battery charged. Shit like that. Or a Lazarus device where it's like, yo, you got 32% health left. That's it. You're now invincible for the remaining time. Plus, also the weird shit you can counter out in there. Like, I was playing with Mist watching on my shoulder. We just encountered these mannequins. Just out there in the middle, and I'm like, that's weird. Then I turned around. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that mannequin wasn't there when I was last looking there. I'm just gonna get back into the car now, you know. It has
They ones that were throwing car doors at you.
yes, yeah. They throw shit at you. They give you stuff. Like they don't harm you. They give you shit. But the thing is,
Violently.
because you don't know that, you're still creeped out by it at first, you know. And
We
yeah,
tried breaking one.
but there's this because it's very interesting because there's from what I've seen of roguelikes, there's usually a case where you do a run and your downtime is quite short. Your downtime in Pacific Run is actually not short because when you're back at the garage, you're usually there like, okay, what can I upgrade? What can I change? What can I remove off? What needs repairing? And then so you spend time right repairing the car, outfitting it with new tech, finding out what you need to build next. Think, okay, where I'm going to go on my next run, which map I'm going to go to, what's there, what resources can I get from there, how is that going to benefit me in the long run, and so on and so forth. It's very interesting. I have to say, it is standing out to be quite good. The only asterisks I will put on there is great accessibility options. However, they are one of these games where if you turn on like no damage or God mode or whatever it is, only those ones, only anything related to damage to yourself or the car, it does disable achievements. Every other accessibility thing they put on there, like if you die, how much do you keep everything? Do you lose everything? All that, everything else can be changed to your liking and it not affect your achievements. It's just the health ones that do, and I can kind of I say I can kind of understand that, but at the same time, it's like let people play the way they want to play. Achievements should be available to everyone. But yeah. No, I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that's what I've been playing and looking forward to.
There are already like really cute mods for
Oh
it as
yes.
well, like the Toy Story one that I showed you, where you can have like Woody and Buzz like at the back of the car, and there's an alien for your dashboard.
Yeah,
It's so
you're
cute.
not giving her like a muscle car or like a tuner. You're giving this piece of crap station wagon, to kind of go through there with, which is great because I love the fact that you have to make do with this piece of shit station wagon.
Well, you've got the only working car in the world.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also like the fact that I think the long time that you have downtime also helps build a relationship with the car, because you
That's the
need to
point.
look after the car and the car will
Looks
look
after
after
you.
Kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah, and yes, great representation. Like for example, the first time you get the decal bench where you basically can start applying customizations to the car, gives you every single LGBTQI flag you could ever imagine, including a
Yeah,
Black
the
Lives
one that
Matter.
I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, so great representation
Yeah.
there, and yeah, some great And the fact is, you could be like, I'm going to change the steering wheel to like a go-kart steering wheel because I can. You know, love little customization options in there. Love it. Great game. I look forward to playing more of it. That is what we've been playing this month. And shall we get into some more, not positive? We've got some positive stuff to talk about as well.
Spicy,
Icy topics.
spicy
Uh,
topics.
what your topic? You want to quickly touch on the quadruple A industry, don't you, Lemming?
Yeah, this is less of a news broadcast and more just a rant.
That's what they're here for.
What the fuck is quadruple A?
It doesn't exist.
Doesn't
I refuse
exist.
to acknowledge it.
Yeah, it doesn't. I mean, they're supposed to be the next step from triple A, according to some bullshit executives and bullshit game developers, publishers that say their game that has been in development for X number of years, we think it's quadruple A, despite it being horrifically buggy and full of microtransactions and an absolute mess. Skull and Bones apparently is a joke, which is why I'm not going to be touching it. But isn't AAA supposed to be a game on a good budget that's capable of bringing you a good, worthwhile investment for your money to game? And today, AAA appears to be cash grab. AAA is, we pumped a load of money into this thing that we think people will buy to play for half an hour and then get bored.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
That's-
not great.
the industry is quite.
AAA used to mean quality, and now it means made by committee.
Yeah, AAA to me just means like at least 50 quid to buy, and it's just
Yeah.
that's all it means to me now.
50 quid to buy, 50 quid to buy into, but they want more money from you after that.
Yeah.
Yes.
God.
50 quid to buy the base model. And then there's more after that. And it's like, AAA needs to go back to being big budget, grand experiences made by professionals, not whatever the executives think will make them the most money.
I keep hearing people say, "Oh, the industry can't handle these kind of things." I'm like, then how come games like Rockstar can make GTA 6? How come we can get like Jedi Fallen Order? There's so many great games out there that are AAA.
Baldur's Gate 3
Baldur's Gate 3
is technically indie.
Technically indie.
I'd say I would peg it to AA, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the AA market.
Yeah.
Also, Helldivers 2. It is published by Sony,
Mhm.
but it's being made by the original developers of Helldivers 1 and is using an engine that is no longer used.
Oh, well. To it.
They have no support building this game. They have to make everything up as they go. But they're still doing it, and it's a lot of fun. But yeah, so they are putting too much stock in their share prices, not in the enjoyment of their customers. And quadruple A is a bullshit fallacy.
I think sometimes this is a very outsider opinion. I have no idea what the fuck's going on in there. But I feel like so many times it's like, yeah, we gotta have like the best graphics. We're gonna pump all of this money into the graphics, and it's like, I don't care so long as the game's good. I don't care. Like I see there was that guy on Twitter just going about what was it like that Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, whatever the fuck that's called, and I dunked Cloud in the canal and he came out completely dried. I'm just like, go to hell. Go fuck yourself.
Okay.
Log off the internet,
Yeah,
touch grass,
I will
go
say,
away, I hate you.
His complaint is legitimate in the fact that, like, yes, it's disappointing, but also it doesn't ruin the game. You know, people blow it out of proportion.
That's the point. Sorry, that was the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
One little thing just blown up to be
Yeah.
like the worst thing. Just like
That's-
go outside, child.
Yeah. That's literally saying the game is shit because the character's hat is orange and not red. That's what this problem can be compared to.
I think we can track the change of AAA from good business, good games with a high budget to just throwaway to the point where they did the remake. They rebooted Tomb Raider. They rebooted Tomb Raider and put so much money into the marketing that the sheer vast number of copies they sold wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
that I think
yeah,
is more about Square Enix's ridiculous expectations more than
the
anything
other thing
else.
is Square
100%,
Enix
but
is
that's
absolutely
the
ridiculous with that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous expectations, but those are now the expectations of all AAA games.
Oh, that's always been the case, though. Even
Yeah,
look back at Obsidian when they were making New Vegas and how they
Oh,
didn't
yeah.
get their bonus because they
Yeah.
didn't get a 90 on Metacritic.
Yeah, I do think it all boils down to how you treat the developers who make the game and who is responsible for who is doing the decisions regarding the game. Because if you treat the developers like shit and it's the um, financial part of the company, financial department, and the board of directors that decides of the game, you come up with bloated, very uh, badly done shit.
Yep.
'Cause I wanted to return to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth actually, because this game is getting a lot of glowing reviews and a lot of people absolutely adore it. And the director of the game said that a big part of the success is that he was fighting tooth and nail to retain at least 80, if not 90% of the people who've been working on the original on the Final Fantasy VII remake, and to keep them still working because they have the experience, they have the passion, they know what is what, and it's always worth to keep those people happy and keep them working.
Yeah.
So
It's
when you treat
almost
yeah,
it's
go ahead.
almost like if you lay off those teams and destroy the team synergy that had been built over years of game development, you're going to get more shit products. I can't believe Nintendo is one of the only companies that has realized this.
Yeah.
Not just that.
Anyway, segueing onto
Well, let's talk. I think I kind of want to talk a bit more about this a little bit, and the fact that because it does segue into I think some other things which I want to talk about, which is layoffs and such, which is um, the game industry. I once heard it's a very recent thing that I once heard in an interview, and I unfortunately wish I could cite the source for it, where apparently some developers, when making games at EA, weren't making games in mind for, weren't making mechanics and ideas for what they think a game would enjoy. They were doing it to please the executive. And the person thought we're doing things that the executive wants, and the executive finds fun and enjoys, not
Would
thinking
that
about what.
have been Anthem for
Yes,
per chance?
it was. It was relation to Anthem. I can't remember where it was said, but yes.
Yeah.
yeah, didn't they actually had to ban people saying, "Well, this looks like Destiny"? No,
Yeah.
but it is
Yeah.
though.
Yep.
I think it might have been this because there was this huge report of this guy that was heavily involved in making Anthem, and then he came out to Kotaku or someone with a huge report about how big of a shitty dumpster fire the
Yeah,
development of this game was.
yeah,
Yeah,
because if
they went to Jason Schreier, didn't they?
that's it, I think it was Jason Schreier, where effectively they were talking about how they weren't like doing things about what gamers were enjoying. They were trying to please this executive, and I'm like, executive, I'm sorry, but some of these executives aren't gamers. They're people who just want a fucking profit. They don't know what a fucking game
They're
is.
in
Yeah.
here they're in
Yeah.
here for the fat paycheck. They don't play video games. They
Yeah.
don't fucking know.
I mean,
Yeah,
a lot of those people are just moving between businesses. This year they're working in games. Next year they're working in automotives. Then they get to like tin can packaging. It's just a random
They
product for
flip
them.
from company to company,
Yeah.
just being an executive and hosing in money.
Yeah.
Mm.
And because
They just-
because I've been to all of these companies before and they've all earned record profits, I know what I'm doing. So you should hire me and give me my
Yeah.
$50 million bonus.
Yeah, they are. I mean, Bobby Kotick famously, for all the time that he was working,
Bobby
said
Kotick.
he doesn't care about games. He only cares about
Nope.
money. And
Yeah.
they all are like that.
And yet they're all these people that don't care about games are the ones calling the shots and game development via committee. They're
Yeah.
just like, you people who know how to make video game, make it like this. And they're just going, what? That doesn't work. I don't care. Do it. It'll make money.
We are in the
Yeah.
third. Go on.
I was gonna say, get ready for the billion Baldur's Gate 3 clones we're gonna see
Yeah.
either this year or
Yep.
next year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're coming. They're coming.
They're coming.
I can almost hear
feel
them.
them in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the industry does that. Something will happen, and the industry will try and follow mimic that. But by the time, because game development takes so long, by the time it comes out, that trend has passed. It's a
Yep.
it's a lightning in the bottle moment.
Yeah.
We are in the third month for 2024. We have already last year the Game Industry suffered, I think, it was 10,000 layoffs. We are outstanding at 8,000 and counting layoffs.
I think we're closer to 9 than 8.
Yes, probably closer to 9 than we are 8 at this point. We are at a ridiculous and unprecedented scenario, and people are calling this the second video game crash. I don't think it's a crash because the market's too. I think this is the crash was brought on something entirely different. This, I think, is a different thing entirely. This is companies trying to save whatever cash they can where they can for the sake of their investors and their shareholders, and cutting loose what they call to be dead weight.
Is that not a crash though?
It's a different. It's a different kind of crash.
Because after the original video game crash of the was it 1980s? When was
Yeah,
it?
1980s.
Yeah. Basically, video gaming as a whole died for the most part overnight. Basically overnight. You know, we went from video games in arcades and in people's houses to virtually nothing for a couple of years until it built itself back up in retail. This is not a complete crash.
So it's not a crash, but a depression.
Depression.
Oh yeah, it's a depression, but it could be a crash in other areas. I see this becoming a crash of the executive level of the gaming industry.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, it would be nice if it was a AAA crash.
Can they speed? Can they speed that up a little bit?
Please, yeah. Because I don't see
what-
this affecting indie devs at all.
Yeah.
It will.
It
It
will.
will because Rami Malek, who does consulting for indie devs, say that funding is dried up now.
Yeah, because that's the thing. You need to finance that somehow, and you can't be running a 9-to-5 job and also making a game.
No.
It's
No, of
so
course not.
you need to finance that in some way, and there's no one's wanting to finance that out there. So yeah, this is going to affect the indies as well.
yeah.
Go on, Shadow.
I have the numbers
Go
of
on.
the current, like to quote Kotaku, as of February 28th, 2024, at least 8,177 people have been or will be laid off this year.
Fucking hell.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I've just got my fingers crossed that the worst of this hits the AAA scene.
I think we are going to see
Developers
that at
first.
some point.
Well, if they want to lay off all their stuff so bad, how about they make the fucking video games?
That's the thing, is that they're laying off people to actually make their fucking product. Which is like, what can you... And I think there's something seriously wrong when... And I'm going to put this out there, and people will say, oh, it's not really a good example, but I think it's a perfectly good example. When you can release a game called Spider-Man 2, it sells 10 million copies, and your studio has to cut back.
Yeah, and still lay people off. That is a bad sign.
Yeah,
That's a bad
this
sign
is
in the industry itself.
I will
the
never
worst-
say. Go on.
Sorry. The worst of it is what the news are saying. Those layoffs at Sony, they were completely random. It wasn't like it was planned. It was done for any long-term business reason. It was like random. We need to do it before the end of fiscal year. We need to fire 900 people, and they were doing like "Inni mini mini you go, inni mini mini you go," and it was just completely random. So this is why a lot of really experienced, really long-running devs were just fired, thrown out.
Yeah, they're pruning the workforce to make their books look better.
Yeah.
But the problem
That's
is
all
that
it is.
Yeah, but the
Gotcha.
problem is that's going to impact on games because you've one destroyed team cohesion, and now
Yep.
you've also destroyed loyalty because
Yep.
Yeah.
now everybody has a target on their backs. Who's going to be helping? What's the incentive for your employees to help one another?
Oh, I'm
They're going to
sorry.
be saying
I'm sorry.
they're
You
going
want
to
you want us to do overtime? Why should we do overtime when you're just going to fire us at the end anyway?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, but what I mean is, like everybody is looking to not be the person at the bottom of the heap. So they're going to sabotage each other. They're not going to help one another.
Do
They're going to
you
be backstabbing one another. They're just going to be like, "Well, I do this one thing, so you can't fire me because I'm very important because I do this one thing." And they're not going to teach other people because,
do you
you
guys
know,
remember what
if
happened
somebody
to the
can do that
escapists?
one thing you're good at.
And because those studios will, sorry,
Go on, Bert. Lemming, what did you say?
Do you guys remember what happened to the Escapist magazine?
Yes.
A little bit,
Where
yes.
all the people that did the actual work left and started their own thing?
Mm,
Something to think about.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, I also worry personally that part of these layoffs is not just money, but they're going to push AI into it as well. They think, well, AI is probably cheaper. It's not. It won't be. AI is cheap right now.
It's
But
going to
what
get
happened in China? What happened in China is like all the companies fired all their artists because AI was cheaper back then. Then the price of AI rose back up. So it was like, oh, we might as well just go get the
It's
artists back.
almost like supply and demand.
Yeah.
And also, AI
That's
currently
my
is
main
still
concern.
shit.
AI is
It
currently
is
shit.
So,
shit.
yeah.
Yeah.
And AI is good for a tool, but it's not good as a replacement.
Yeah.
You can't get a computer to make what
Well,
a
it's
A computer
yeah, but
can't create. It can only mash things together. The
it's
only
really
problem is AI right now is getting to the point where it can mash things together very well. It can't be creative, but it can be used to make fakes of things. And that's the problem because it hasn't been litigated yet.
yes, Bo?
But
it's just really hard to convince about it. People like product managers, team managers who have no fucking clue what they're doing. They don't know about the products. They don't know what AI is. They don't know what video games is. And people who've been now laid off, I don't think they have many incentives to return when obviously all the studios are gonna rehire because they need some people. So those studios will end up with a lot of new people with zero experience and no one to teach them, and some AI that's gonna do some crappy jobs. So there's gonna be I'm really rooting
Yeah,
for the
we're not
crash of
headed.
the place.
I personally think we're headed to a very bad time in the
Yeah,
video game industry. We're gonna have a bad time, and
Thing
I
is,
will
we
also.
will have that bad time, but then it will be a bad time, and then that bubble will burst, and then we'll move on to the next thing.
I hope that
yeah,
sooner
That's
rather
what my
than
hoping
later.
is.
But I will just say, right now, currently, with all the layoffs and stuff like that, I cannot. I know it's a long time. I know it's a long period away, so my views on it will probably change. But right now, where we are right now, I can't even stomach the thought of the Game Awards this at the moment.
We're not
Like
actually
the
addressing
thought,
it, yeah.
yeah, the like Jeff Keighley got away with it last
Last year,
year.
he can't get
Even
over it
then, it
this
was
year.
a little bit. But now, if he doesn't address it like this year, if he continues being all nepo baby on us, like it just feels disgusting.
It does feel a bit like, you can't look him in the eye, you
Yeah, it's
know,
like I can understand being in the
that
position
he's
of
in.
like
Yeah.
feeling like you've got a gun to the back of your head not to say anything. But I think even more in that position, you need to say something. Like,
Yeah, you almost have a responsibility to say something.
yeah, because I mean, fucking Stefan Vick of Larian Games said something. You know,
Mm,
like if those guys can say something, like come on, Keeley, you are in probably in the position where people might listen to you.
yeah, I think if he doesn't say anything this year, it's gonna I mean, there's already that joke that I saw running on the hard drive where the Game Awards announces the best layoffs of 2020, the
Yeah,
14 awards, and I'm like, which, yeah, to admit, there has to be something said about it this year. There cannot be something not said.
I'm pretty sure the Volver conference is gonna have something.
God,
wrong
I
with it.
hope so.
Yeah. I also want to read something.
Mm-hmm.
It's something which I actually wrote, and it is actually on my Twitter or my Twix account. Because as you might know, I have a degree in game design, which I earned many years ago, and I'm going to read out what I posted. I have a degree in game design. I earned it over 10 years ago at university. Unfortunately, after that period, I decided not to get into the gaming industry because of the toxic culture the gaming industry has. When I refer to that, I refer to how games earn an 8 out of 10 are declared failed by gamers and the frankly absurd levels of entitlement that I've seen a very vocal amount, not necessarily majority, but a very vocal people on the internet talk about. And don't get me wrong, there are people out there who are arseholes. I don't want to be one of those developers getting death threats because someone did something like a game I worked on, even had nothing to hand in that thing that they didn't like. Today, I'm justified my decision even more by seeing how many people are being laid off day in and day out, where even when a game is successful. When Spider-Man 2 can sell 10 million copies and is a success, yet the people who grafted to get that laid off, there's a fucking problem. This industry is toxic. But among the now toxic fan bases, and yes, not everyone is toxic, but it's a very loud, vocal, and stupid part of it, we have to deal with a toxic corporate culture that takes people actually making the product, uses them, and then discards them. The only people left outstanding are the CEOs, the executives, and their shareholders. I'd like to see them make a fucking game that sells millions, but they can't as they haven't got the skills necessary to do so. Their only skill is being immune to being fired or suffering consequences, apparently. I mean, when you're part of a conglomerate who have to have a deal going down and buy out gaming companies like they were Pokemon cards, only for the deal that you were betting on falling through, that sounds like a termination level screw up. Doesn't it, Embracer Group?
Yeah, I like.
When it's like when the executives fuck up, oh, I'm sorry, I guess we got to find costs elsewhere. When actually someone in the lower graph screws up, you're fired.
Yeah, I was thinking about this in the shower the other day actually. I just had this thought of like, I am so glad my parents actually dissuaded me from going into a game industry job because I probably would have been one of those layoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Almost certainly. And it's just this weird sort of like, and I think my parents have actually said to me before, like, "Oh, maybe we shouldn't have dissuaded you." And I'm just like, "No, I actually
Yeah.
have a stable job where I earn good money
Yeah.
because they dissuaded me."
I mean,
And
I'm
it's
lucky to say the same
so
thing, but yeah.
fucked up to think about that. Like to think that my parents just wanting me to have a stable job has like, it's fucked up, man. It shouldn't be like that.
It
Because
should
we
it
are
should be.
going to lose so many people whose passion is video game development and they've been laid off. Some will never go back into the industry. We've lost them for good. They'll go somewhere else. They'll go to tech. They'll go they might go into, to the medical scene or like private companies. We'll lose them for good because of this. And
Yeah.
it just fucking sucks, man.
It is a stupid and I guess I cannot stand the taste in my mouth knowing the fact that the gaming industry is full of these corporate dickwads who sit in their fucking ivory towers. It took a fucking scandal to get Bobby Kotick out of his fucking ivory tower. I was like, and even then there were like hums and ha's about, oh well,
Here's your gold parachute. Don't
yeah,
worry, man.
and even then he got a fucking golden parachute. It's like, if it takes a scandal and even then you get a fucking golden parachute for an executive, what the fuck is going on?
I mean, there's fucking David Zaslav over in Warner Brothers, just like, yeah, this really popular film that could make us $1 bazillion. I'm just gonna fucking delete it. Go fuck yourself, mate.
Yeah, that is showing that we are, unfortunately, I hate to be a doomsayer here, but we are in late stage capitalism. We are at the fall point of our civilization right now when it comes to capitalism, because this is an obvious sign that unrestrained capitalism, which is what we're under right now, the ones where billionaires are allowed to exist and company executives get to do whatever the fuck they want, this is a massive sign, because that shouldn't be able to even happen under a functioning society.
Join a union, please. That goes
Well,
for me as well.
Next topic. What was going to be our next topic? Which, well, I know there's a topic about emulation and Nintendo, which we're going to get on with. Is there anything else people wanted to bring up?
I watched June Part 2. It was awesome. Moving
Oh,
on.
I need to watch that. I guess my dad might want to watch it when I go back to parents.
I was worried you were frozen for a sec, Berg, because you'd not moved for a while.
I'm not frozen. I was just preoccupied. Yeah, I would love to see Dune, but I don't feel like going to a cinema really. It's just
I made a day of it.
I do miss it.
Booked the day off.
So
I'll
there's
just
something about the cinema. I think it's better with people though,
Yeah.
personally. But
It's a social thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
been to the cinema on my own like once. It's like it's okay, but it's like would prefer.
yeah.
If I had anybody nearby that was willing to go to see movies that I wanted to see, cool. But none of them are around anymore.
Yeah.
Wait, what? You look like something has occurred to you.
Yes, one thing I forgot to mention when we're covering our last topic. There's also a problem when EA says we don't think a Mandalorian game for Star Wars is worth developing.
Oh my god, I'm going to kill them. I'm going to fucking kill them.
Yeah.
Like, I heard somewhere that they were like, well, it doesn't have the Jedi and lightsabers. I'm like, I'm going to
Fuck's
kill
sake.
you with my bare hands.
And not just that, but also like this idea that they seem to be wishy-washy.
There's a
People don't
joke.
like single player experiences. Oh, they do like single player experiences. Oh no, they don't
Right.
like single player experiences.
That's what I was going to hit on when I was saying late stage capitalism. It's the
Like-
fact that they get government subsidies for making a thing that they make more money binning than they do releasing.
That
Yeah.
should be an instant
It's
fucking
illegal.
investigation.
Yeah.
Incident.
Yeah.
That to me just that suspiciously sounds like it should be illegal and fraud. Yeah.
And the fact
Yeah.
that Warner Brothers have done it twice
Yeah.
so
If
far.
I were the government, I would be like, where the fuck are your taxes, mate?
One thing I was going to bring up, which is let's handle the next topic and then hopefully get into something positive. So, a couple of days ago, Nintendo and the Yuzu creators, which are the creators of the developer, which specifically the company. Sorry, what was that?
Tropic Haze is there.
Tropic Haze is their name. Settled out of court for a dispute. Now, Tropic Haze are the creator of two well-known emulation programs: Yuzu, which is a Switch emulator, and Citra, which is a 3DS emulator.
One of the few.
One of the
well,
few.
One of the only usable and mature 3DS emulators that we know of right now.
And I know this because we've utilized it in order to stream certain games, which I do have a copy of on my actual 3DS. Thank you very much. In case anyone's any question about that, settled out of court. Now people are arguing, oh, this emulation and things, this is bad. Thing is, though, I want to basically clarify. We've had some clarification regarding the situation. First of all, in my opinion, Tropic Haze brought it upon their fucking selves. In my opinion.
Yeah, they really painted a big ass target on their back.
So to anyone wondering, we have precedents with Bleem versus Sony that it is not illegal for emulation to exist. That is something which I think Nintendo, to this day, continues to gripe against, and to this very moment, and wishes they could overturn.
Back
Go
in
on.
my previous job as tech support for broadband, we used emulation to emulate your operating systems so I could guide the customer through what they were doing.
Exactly. Now, the situation with this is there was a court case. Now, the court case was leveled against them, is that Nintendo presented a legal argument in that they claimed that users' Patreon page allowed its developers to earn up to $30,000 per month by providing subscribers with daily access, and also argued that they were liable for the distribution of illegal copies of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, claiming that it had been pirated up to 1 million times prior to its release date.
Yeah, that they were facilitating piracy through
Yes,
the
effectively.
ability to break into it.
Around
My
the
only
time,
question is, where do they get those numbers from?
well, that is what Nintendo facilitates. But what I will say is that before Tears of the Kingdom came out, Yuzu did advertise, or at least state that they had a working version of their Yuzu emulator that could run the leaked version of Tears of the Kingdom.
Also, there were a fuck ton of fanboys afterwards who went into like Nintendo's replies saying that they could play the
Ooh.
game. That didn't help, lads.
No.
Stop it. Loose lips sink ships.
No. Now, I will say that I'm of the opinion that emulation for the sake of preservation is important. I don't agree with the Switch emulator existing because, in my opinion, it's still a supported device. For the 3DS, Nintendo stopped selling and making 3DSs. Nintendo stopped selling and making 3DS games. In my
eShop-
opinion, the eShop is dead. So, in that opinion, that's fair game, in my opinion. The Switch,
Yep.
a little bit of a grey area because that's still a, it does gripe me when articles come up saying that you can play Metroid Dread at 60 frames per second in 4K on a Switch emulator. It was like the Switch
when
exists,
it was newly
guys.
released, it was just like, oh no.
It's a little bit dirty, yeah.
Yeah.
That being said, people are well within their right to play the game how they want to see fit. But it just upsets me the fact that they open themselves to this they invited Nintendo to go after them
Yep.
because they gave Nintendo a way to go after them. Because if they hadn't have had a Patreon, which they're paying through, which it is not illegal to pay for emulation, is worth mentioning. It's just you can't distribute the ROMs. If they had not actually been distributing the ROMs between themselves on their Discord, which there is evidence of them doing, then this would not be a problem.
This is
How
why emulators and ROMs are two separate things. They're kept well away from each other for this reason.
yes,
Yep.
the emulators are created with the purpose of emulating software that you exist and you own, not for the purpose of pirating. And that is basically what the Bleem and Sony case was all about back in the day. That's what established that precedent. Unfortunately, this death of Yuzu has meant the death of Citra, and has also meant that
Yep.
there's been a lot of
So
question. Go on.
It was so vague as to cover both Yuzu and Citra. Citra got caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that means that now 3DS emulation is now set back quite a significant step. Although there are probably forks of Citra because of course once it's out on there you can't get rid of it. But still, it's still a sad day for emulation because people might say, "Oh, there are a lot of people who are on different sides saying, oh, it's never been about it's never been about preservation, about piracy." There is, you know, these two things do kind of coexist. Some people can want it for piracy, some people can want it for preservation. They're not mutually exclusive. I definitely think preservation is more important. But yes,
Yeah, and the two thoughts can coexist that Nintendo's a fucking demon for doing this, and Yuzu and Tropic Haze did bring this upon themselves.
yeah,
Kind of thing.
both are
These
shitty in
two
both
things
ways.
can exist
Yeah.
as
Yep.
separate thoughts.
Yeah, like one's a corporation, never
Corporation known
across
for
the
going
board,
after
not a good
emulation.
thing.
Known for going after emulation and being wholly against its preservation unless it's on their terms.
Yeah,
You know,
Nintendo Corporation with a history of going after like emulation. That bit, it's just you're a corporation. That's a red flag.
and to
Then
Yeah.
openly spouting that your version of Nintendo's thing is better.
Yeah, openly courting,
Mm,
instructing, especially
poking the
Tears of
bear.
Kingdom.
you are
Like-
poking the bear.
Poking the bear, and they just got bit. And a bear's jaws are wide.
Yeah, the
Especially
thing-
that. Sorry. No, go
No,
ahead,
you
Shannon.
first, Bear.
Just want to say, especially that Nintendo has always been doing everything they can to prevent anyone from touching this stuff because it's in their interest to, just in case, not allow anyone to do anything with their property, just in case someday someone wins a lawsuit against them and starts owning some of their property that they have come up with.
And that's why this was settled outside of court, because we didn't want a precedent being set again. Not
Yeah,
at least
and-
negative towards emulation. Go on, Shannon.
Yeah, and also, I like anybody who knows how Nintendo is emulation and fan made stuff and stuff like that would know that, hey, maybe advertising that we have leaked copies of Tears of the Kingdom, one of their blockbuster AAA games, is maybe a bad idea, which it might upset them just a teeny tiny little bit. But no, apparently we're gonna go swinging our fucking dick out at them, and then be oh so surprised when the fucking knives come out. Like, oh no, Nintendo came after us. Nah, shit, you were taunting them.
It is very important, I think, to always hold a corporation's feet to the fire. Nintendo have always been anti preservation, anti emulation, and I think that's not going to change. This certainly is not change the situation, and we should basically look at them and criticizing for this view because people might say, "Oh, but you can play games." You can play games. You can easily play these games. My response is, if you want to play Pokemon Black, fair enough. Good luck paying £526 for it.
Yeah, like you can't get 3DSs now. They're not being manufactured. The eShop is down. Like that's never coming back. Like we've lost a shit ton of games because of this.
I've been trying to find a 3DS to replace my Pikachu one, because that was getting old towards the end of the run. Unfortunately, I could not find a decently priced 3DS that is new in box for a price that I could think is affordable. I just don't have that disposable income, and preservation is about saying that people should be able to play these games like years down the line. Nintendo have shown they're no interest in doing that. I mean, yes, you might say, they say, oh, but they put stuff on Nintendo online. They put some stuff on
Stuff
Nintendo online
of their massive
of their
catalog.
massive catalog behind their own paywall. I will add as well. It's oh yeah, I know, my friend. It's just it's more the point and the principle more than the fact. Like, for example, I love Samus Returns. I just think that I want to be able to play Samus Returns in 20 years' time, and my 3DS might not be up to that, and your 3DS might be broken by that time. Hell, old consoles from the 80s are starting to break down now. Yeah, we just cannot continue this, and when we have articles saying that 90% of games history is just gone, you know, I'm trying to stop all this shit on the shelf from going that way. Because
Yeah.
no company seems to be interested in actual long-term preservation.
No.
If I can be slightly personal for a bit, I'm going to take out quite a lot of personal anecdotes because
Mhm.
what's happening is a very personal family thing. I don't really want to talk too much about it,
Of
but
course.
I've recently been going through my grandfather's stuff, and if there was one thing he was very good at, it was he would burn to disk a lot of programs, a lot of rare. He was very interested in trains, in train programs, like you know, um, Swiss tram, trains just going through the countryside, and there'd be a camera in the cab, and it would just capture the travel through, and other documentaries like that. He burned a lot of those programs onto discs, rare programs from I don't want to say fans, but like indie studios of just people like, yeah, we're going on a train from like Birmingham New Street to like London Euston kind of thing, like in ye olden days. And like these programs would have never been preserved kind of thing. It's arguable that some of the stuff that my granddad has, not just as burn to disc stuff, but also books and all sorts, are probably extremely rare, probably one of a kind items. And I remember sort of being amongst them, looking through them, and thinking, one, missing him because he's sadly no longer with us, and I just remember thinking, like, shit, I wish he could have taught me how to do this, because being amongst this and the video game industry being as it is, it's just the thought of like, well, if I don't preserve this shit the way my granddad did, I ain't like, I'm gonna lose everything. And the game industry is gonna be like, well, that's illegal. It's just like, you're not giving us any other option.
You're making it very difficult for us to remain legal here.
Yeah. Like, at some point, we're gonna cross that line, and They've only got themselves to blame.
I saw a Twitter post today that made me think, actually, that's a very poignant thing. And I'm going to go into my, again, not personal thing, but like stuff that I know. Did you know that back in the 90s, um, when the BBC had moved over, they found out they were missing 152 episodes of Doctor Who?
Yes, because they taped over them,
They
didn't they?
taped over them back in the day of the Pertwee and pre era. They taped
Jesus.
over them because they didn't think about like future syndication. There was no such a thing as a syndication in the 60s. So they never thought that people would ever see this again. That's it. That's now over. We're go over that. However, since then, that number's been reduced down to just 97. That's over 54 episodes. Oh, well, 50 episodes found over that time. My math's probably way off that, but I can't be bothered to do math right now. And it was only found because some people who would be told to like get rid of this or tape over this tape or such said, "Oh, I'll take that home. I'll just take that home." And years later were found either in a skip as part of like in the sub department of like another country's like airing department. Basically, piracy and piracy and ignoring the rules for how to properly dispose of stuff saved a lot of history of Doctor Who.
And also, it saved remasters of games because companies are actually having to awkwardly ask their employees from that time, "Hey, do you have copies of this game that you might not have, you know, supposed to have?" kind
And
of
that,
thing.
and that does create its own problems because there is someone who we know owns a copy of one of the lost episodes of Doctor Who, and he doesn't want to come forward with it because he's afraid that the BBC will prosecute him for it.
Mm,
And that's the problem, is once you have people who do this for preservation, and then years later this stuff becomes useful to someone, they're then afraid to come forward because they might then get in trouble for what they did back then.
Yeah.
And that's
yes,
that's ridiculous. The fact that this positive thing is stopping people. It's such a fucked up situation.
it's very fucked up.
We've
Yeah.
talked about preservation, perhaps the most topic on this podcast. Go on, Lemmy.
And I have one more thing to add to that.
Go on.
Because preservation is certainly important. It really truly is. Preserving what we've got for the future. But Nintendo will never help their own case while they are the kings of enforced scarcity.
Yes.
They manufacture scarcity with everything they do. They sell out every console they produce. They sell out every game they produce because they manufacture just few enough that they can sell out every time they release something.
They behave like a
Switch.
toy company.
I mean, when the Wii was first released, sold out coast to coast. Couldn't get one because of how popular it was and how few they made. The Switch, it took me years to actually think, now's the time to get one.
Same here.
Yeah, because you couldn't get one. They are the kings of enforced scarcity, and that's the same across their entire company.
Now, for anyone who disagrees and says, no, this is a stupid thing, this is not important, I want you to now do a thought exercise. This is for Shadow, Lemming, and for Miss in the chat, and for anyone else who's in the chat. Think of your favorite game, like your absolute favorite game of all time that you cannot do without. Imagine a world where that game was not as popular, and as such, it never got a re-release. So for Myst, imagine it was Sonic 2 or Sonic 1, Sonic the Hedgehog. And imagine now, 40 years later, you want it to show your like an old friend of yours or your grandchild or relative what your favorite game of your all time was like, and you can't.
Oh, I know this already because there's a game that I've wanted to play that I was hoping to find at my granddad's, but isn't there. So I got rid of it when I was much younger. I don't know why. I got rid of it at a car boot sale. It was Zoo Tycoon 2, the complete edition. That is exceedingly rare. You will never find the complete edition. Like, I don't even think CEX has it. Like, and I gave that away. Like, younger me was like, oh, I don't want this anymore. Give it away. And there's me now wanting to play it, just going, why did you do that? So many GameCube games I've lost. Like, I lost Wario Land. I lost the two. I lost. Is it Rogue Leader or Rogue Squadron that was the second one? I think
Rogue
it's Rogue
Squadron.
Squadron was the second one.
Rogue Leader,
That for
yes.
the GameCube, I lost and thankfully found again. But like, I lost so many. I have lost so many games getting rid of them, thinking I don't want to play this anymore. And now, as I'm older, I'm like, hey, it would be nice to go down memory lane. Can't fucking go down
Right.
memory lane because it ain't fucking it, mate.
Yeah, and people might say, okay, well, sure, but is that really feasible? Okay, now I'll just do part 2 of that experiment. Imagine your favorite film of all time. Now think, if you wanted to watch that film, how easy it is for you to get a copy of that film or view that in some fashion now?
Very easily. I think I've got like the DVD in there somewhere, or
Yeah.
I could just go onto Amazon.
Yep. Literally, I could literally say, let's just says, oh, okay, well, you want to watch, and again, I know we're talking about like famous films. Like, if I could watch, like, pretty much any film that I can think of, I can easily access
Right.
via streaming.
Okay. How to Train Your Dragon? How to Train Your Dragon film. Oh look, it's right there. The How to Train Your Dragon for that you can watch in three. You can watch on the Amazons on Prime Video. It is £2.50 to rent.
When was that film released, by the way?
2010.
2010. Okay, cool. Do you know what also was released that year? Super Mario Galaxy 2.
Oh.
You know, just to prove a
I
point.
don't think I can play that.
No, but my point is, yeah, you can't play that because
Yeah.
Nintendo doesn't have your. Or better yet, what came out the year? Transformers: War for Cybertron. Yeah.
Actually, you know what?
That was
Right.
such a good game.
Here's an old thing. It's the oldest movie that I know. So some people are going like, well, that's not very old at all. Shush. I am a child. Leave me alone. How to Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh.
A classic.
Yeah. Yes, To Kill a Mockingbird, a movie from 1963 on Prime Video for £2.50 to rent.
Or if you want the DVD, I can buy it $14.99 on Amazon right now.
Yeah. Like, that is from 1963.
Cool.
It's
Let's.
almost like the film and music industry has
I've solved
a lot
this
more,
problem. You know.
Yeah. Oh, that's
Or-
50.
a lot more respect for longevity.
I'm not even going to do that. So that what was that? 1967 when To Kill a Mockingbird was released.
63.
63. Okay. I'm going to go to a game that was released back in 1990. Give me a second. Finding it. Release date. I can always remember how. Yeah, 1997. So, you know, there's an upside down 6 in there somewhere, making a 9. And it's a little game which is one of my favorites of all time. Castlevania Symphony of the Night. I can buy that if I go to eBay for a unique seller who only got the one copy for £599.
Ouch.
Now I will say bad example because you can actually pick that up on PlayStation Wet Cream for about 20 quid. Still, that's a good example of how preservation should be done, even though it's not perfect because it's only on PlayStation 4. But the point is, yes, the gaming industry needs to sort its fucking shit out with
Yep.
preservation.
Get a film from 1939, Gone with the Wind for £3.95.
Better than that, I can give you some.
That's
like,
cheaper
just
than
to,
from
just to hammer this
e-store
home.
games. Yes.
Just to hammer this home, one of the earliest animated movies of all time, Steamboat Willie, 1928, the origin of Mickey Mouse. If you go to the Steamboat Willie Wikipedia article, the entire movie is there for free. All 8 minutes of it.
Dang.
Sounds like the gaming industry needs to sort its fucking shit out.
True.
But unfortunately, because gaming came along far after the movie industry, any kind of call for preservation is met with pushback from the entertainment.
The rest of the
conglomerate,
entertainment industries.
pretty much.
Also, this is still not a very mature branch. So games are still in this Wild West stage where it's all about money, 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 nothing else.
The only problem there is the video game industry is exponentially larger than both the movie and music industries.
Which is so fucked up because it's so larger. Then surely they have the infrastructure to do this.
Exactly.
They do. It's the executives fucking everything up.
As we got to
Yeah, it's
before.
just they could have infrastructure for that.
Yep.
Mm.
It's just the people who have the money, they don't have the incentive for that. They don't care. They only care for here and now. So it will it will not change until it's gotten into the stage where people really think about this medium more like they thinking about movies or music industry.
Mm.
Chris, Mist makes a very good point in the Skylanders. Where do you get those figures now?
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, the
There's another grand example of forced scarcity.
I mean, the ideal preservation for that would be in the future where you get the game and you get a model that you can just simply change the IR code for.
You
So it
could
could
probably
be
just 3D print it and then just put the chip in the bottom.
exactly, or you could just change the IR code for whatever you wanted it to be, whatever you needed it to be. But the point is that I'm talking like an official kosher way that could be released to do that, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also he does also point out Pokemon Yellow, which is
Mhm.
actually kind of funny because it got re-released on the 3DS.
Oh yes, the 3DS
The 3DS, which is
Hmm.
now whose eShop is now
dead.
non-functional.
We try to keep the podcast only to us four, but please feel free to pop it in the chat, Mist.
Yes. You have all of the time in the world to think, and I will keep an eye on it.
We have all of 10 so minutes. Is there anything we want to go into a more positive topic? We were going to talk about games we were looking forward to, but I think, quite frankly, we've gone so long on these awful
I think there's
topics.
something that we could talk about as very positive.
Go on then.
That happened not 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
Called Game Blast.
Oh,
Game
yeah.
Blast.
That's been the most wonderful weekend since I don't know when, since UK
Since the
Games
last
Expo
Game Blast.
happened.
No, yeah, it's £5,000 raised for charity for special effect to help for a good cause. A company that specializes in making
Indeed.
a specialized controllers for disabled individuals. I wish I could have shown the video while I was streaming. I really did enjoy the streams we did. We had a great fun. Everyone's had a great time. I'm doing some streaming tomorrow with Weird. We were playing Journey to the Savage Planet, and I'm doing on Thursday Kill and Conquer with Mist, who's in the chat. So it's all stuff going on right now, and it's just crazy times.
Yeah. So I think you have started, all four of you, to figure out even better how to incentivize people, how to engage them with what you can do with the donations, like all those things that Connor was doing with a Wild Blast Mountain, or how
It's real fun.
yeah, or how Lewis was eating the horrible nuggets.
Yeah, the thing is, it's weird because I don't like the kind of like incentives for that kind of things. So I'm usually pretty chill on my end. Plus, some of the last stream of the day, so I'm always like I say, I like to try and be chill as I can. Also, I did. That's kind of what I was meaning, Mist, is having like a character with a NFC card which you can then change as you need it to. But yeah, but yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. But yeah,
I do want to say that Game Blast as a whole raised £100,000 at the end of it all. So congratulations.
Yes, indeed. Oh, Zadrus, you missed the fun. We were talking about that about 10 minutes ago and laying into Nintendo and like completely ripping them and also what's that company called
Tropic
again?
Glaze.
Tropic Glaze is a new arsehole because they invited them Nintendo pretty much to cause problems, and Nintendo being the graciously anti emulation assholes they are, decided to accept.
Yeah, it's like if you open the door for a bear-sized pigeon, you should not be surprised when it backs everything and shits on the floor.
Yep. I mean, we are being fair, Xanderus, in the fact that we think that Truffle, the company itself, did invite Nintendo to do it. They had some own problems of their own right. That doesn't absolve Nintendo of their situation. We do disagree with Nintendo. And yes, you are completely right. Something which we forgot to mention. Nintendo sucks. They hate emulation, yet they should be illegal. Yet they emulate their own games on their own systems.
The
Yeah,
thing
they
is,
have to
they
get an
don't.
emulated version of Mario Sunshine
Yeah,
working
they
for their
they don't hate
game that's no
emulation.
longer available anymore.
Yeah, they don't hate
Huh?
emulation. They hate everyone other than them touching this stuff.
As I said, they don't mind emulation as long as it's on their terms.
Yeah.
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 No emulate, only play. But I can't play. No emulate, only play.
Oh, trust me, there's plenty of games from Nintendo's catalog that I'll be playing for years. On both on my shelf, but let's put it this way, it won't be on a 3DS.
Yeah, I've been having very nice strolls down memory lane in the old Pokemon games, but let me tell you, they're not being played on my GBA.
Convenience.
I own the games, Nintendo. Calm down.
Yeah,
And
I own the games
when my
too.
3 dies, I'm gonna miss this.
What's that you got there?
Ace Combat Assault Horizon
good.
Legacy Plus.
Oh.
One
You
of the
see,
best unsung games of the 3DS.
I have to admit, I think on a whim, literally about a few months about into last year, I did on a whim just purchase Samus Returns because I thought, yeah, I'll probably never play it on my 3DS itself, but at least I can then emulate it and be, peace of mind and such.
Yeah, I
Um,
can understand that.
Yeah.
The only time I've not I have a the only time I've got a ROM that I might have interesting origin story is Crystal, but like the only way I can buy Crystal is on the 3DS, and you kind of shut down the eStore, Nintendo. What do you want me to do about
mm,
it?
yeah, and yeah, Xanderus is correct. Look at games like which are never localized, like Investigations 2, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
Yeah,
a DS game or a 3DS game?
it's a DS game, not a
Oh,
3DS
good.
game. Hello, Crystal. But yeah, that's what we've been talking about. It's been a good old fun session, and I think we'll wrap it up this time. Next time we will talk about. I think next time let's have some positive vibes. Let's talk about games that we're looking forward to in 2024. So that'll be the next episode of the podcast, which will.
Did you guys know there's a new Endless Ocean game? I did not think I would live long enough to see another one, but I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Seriously, I thought you were going to say Homeworld 3 for a second there.
You guys wait. There's a Homeworld 3.
It was a Homeworld 3.
Uh,
You walked into that, Elliot.
I know. So
I
Um,
actually bought the game that I'm looking forward in 2024, like an hour before the podcast.
Oh yeah, and the new Stardew Valley. Was it the Thaumaturge by any chance?
It was Thaumaturge.
Yeah,
And
I
I
was
bought it
gonna
on
say
GOG
like,
because
oh, you know that was released today.
yeah.
no,
I'm starting to try to buy more things on GOG
the
so
next
that I can have them.
the next time we're going to be live is on the last. It's always the last Tuesday. Well, we say the last Tuesday, but then something inevitably happens that ends up pushing it back sometimes. So hopefully it'll be on the 26th of March, Tuesday the 26th. That's in just 3 weeks time, which you can catch us. And we will basically be talking about the positive things that we're looking forward to in terms of games for the future. Plus, also some calamity will happen in the games industry at some point that we'll have to talk about.
God, no.
Or hopefully we can just be positive about it. And if you actually want to suggest topics for us to discuss, which please try and keep it positive, although we'll also discuss negative topics as well, you can of course tweet at me on my Twitter, which you can find my Twitter handle above me. Or, of course, you can join my Discord, where on the Discord there is a topic section under the Common Dense podcast where you can basically list your ideas in there. And we do encourage you, if you want to talk to any members of the cast that have been involved with this or City Voices, please do join the Discord. It's a nice place where we all hang out and spend time with each other. I want to thank all of you. Why is the Discord thing not thing?
Yeah, come hang out. Find me at the monkey bars.
Literally hanging out.
So who are we gonna raid, El? Because Scarf is streaming, and also Divot.
Well, we've raided Scarf before, so I think it makes sense that given that Divot needs some support,
Yes.
because Lord does he need support. Are you sure he's streaming? He's not streaming to me.
He is. He's on my
Has he?
dashboard.
I
I
think
need
he
to
might
No,
have
I
just
think
ended.
his.
Oh, he
No,
stopped. Oh, it
he
hasn't
stopped.
updated on mine.
Well, there you go. That's
That's
answered the question
tough.
for me.
It's-
It's going to be Scarf then.
Yeah.
My
To
apologies
scarf!
to the Scarfed
Which
one.
is lying to us.
I mean,
How
y'all
dare
go to
you
the scarfed
say
one.
it?
I'm going to go to bed.
Yes, we'll take you to the Scarfed one, and then we'll let Lemon get some rest. So yes, everyone's hop in the raid cannon. Also,
We're
don't
gonna raid the bed.
Get in the hat.
don't forget that if you want to help join, if you're a subscriber and such, you can join by throwing some wrenches and also the raid emote as well. So please should do that once joining, or even just copy that and shove it out there once to go through.
Take care of yourself too, Mr. Zandris, man.
And yes, every one of you take care of yourself, including you, Xander, including you missed everyone in the chat who's been lurking. Thank you for being around here. My name's been back on the Comments Podcast. I've been joined by Burr,
Hey.
Fleming,
Peace.
and of course Shadow.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Take care. Take your meds. There he is. There's the boy.
Doing the thing.
eBay McCann rating with the funniest 6. Welcome on in. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome back to some Tomb